Hi, it's Rhonda again. It was brought to my attention that I apparently hit the pause button on my video last night. So when I thought I was recording, I wasn't. So I missed part of what I was trying to show you with that honeybee cup. I was going to show you how to apply decals and then how to do the drip. Well, I already applied the decals and did the drip on this cup. This is what it looks like now. I went ahead and epoxied it and I glued the little bees on it. I put 3 on there. So I will show you with another cup how to do the drip since I already did this one. I used clear water slides for my decals. I ordered these little bees off of Amazon. I ordered yellow and black and then these pink and white. They're metal. Bejewels is what they're called on Amazon. I think they were $13 for all these. I use E6000 glue to glue them on the cup. And then you can epoxy over them and they still shine even though there's epoxy over them. So those were glued on and then I epoxied over everything. So this is what the drip cup looks like now that I'm finished. So I can show you the drip. I mixed up some epoxy. I have it here. I don't use the fast set epoxy. This is regular epoxy. And if you let it sit for an hour or so and stir it about every 5 minutes while it's setting up is the way to do it. But I don't want to wait an hour and a half and see it so thin. It would just run down the cup and I couldn't make the drip. So I have Nice and Thick. It's made by Counterculture. It's a thickening agent to thicken up your epoxy, and I can't tell you how much to use, but I do know this, it takes a whole lot of it to thicken it up. It looks kind of like fake Splenda or something. So you just add it to your epoxy and stir it in, and it will eventually thicken up your epoxy. Geez, I must have dumped half the dang container in there. I'm not near the epoxy, so I bet I have enough in there since I just dumped a whole bunch of the container in there. But anyway, you just stir it up. Reminds me of making a thickener for gravy or something. But just stir it in. You can add a little bit of acrylic paint to your epoxy to color it. So your epoxy's whatever color you want it to be. See, it's still real thin even though I dumped a lot of that container in here on accident. And it doesn't take very much epoxy to do these drips. This time I'm going to add some more and hopefully not dump so much in. It's definitely more cost effective to just let your epoxy thicken on its own. But if you want to hurry up the process, this is the way to do it. They say that you can use cornstarch also, but I've never tried it with cornstarch. I'm making this cup for my granddaughter Charlie. She will be 7 on May 30th. And even though this design doesn't require or would normally have a drip on it, I figured since she's going to be 7, she might like a drip. And I wanted to show you how to do it, so I'm going to put it on this cup. And I think I'll make her drips pink too because she's very girly. I'm going to use this pink rose neon color. You can use any brand of acrylic paint, any color you like. Just add a little bit, doesn't take a whole lot. And just stir it in your epoxy till you get the color that you like. And I have learned doing these cups. These drips take forever to set up enough where they won't completely run down your cup. And if your epoxy is real thin, you have to keep an eye on your cup. And you leave your cup this way and the drips will run down the cup, and when they run down far enough, then you need to tip your cup over. And when your cup is like this upside down, you don't want to set it on your table or your counter because that epoxy will run off the cup, and as it dries, it'll dry your cup to your counter or table. So I hang it over a spray paint can or use a paper towel holder. That way you don't have to hold on to the cup, but you'll have to keep a close eye on it. Well, I don't like to babysit these cups. One time I went to my friend's house and I was doing a drip on a cup and I wanted to leave to go to her house. So I took the cup with me in my car and drove about 3 miles. She thought I was crazy, so I show up with this cup with wet epoxy on it, sitting on a paper towel holder. And I had to mess with the cup the whole time I was at her house to keep the drips from running off the cup where I didn't want them. So anyway, if you let your epoxy sit for about an hour, stir it every 5 or so minutes, it'll thicken up on its own. Or you can use nice and thick to thicken up your epoxy. And I figured this out on my own. I will put a cup on a turner after I get the drips on it. And I can turn the turner on and it'll turn on the turner just like it would on a normal basis. And the drips don't really move. And then I don't have to babysit the cup. I just let it turn 4 to 6 hours on its own and the drips set up. That's how I did the drips on this one. I applied them, got them where I wanted, then I put the cup on the turner and I let them turn like 4 hours or whatever, and then I shut the turner off and they stayed in place. And then tonight I epoxied over the drips and the whole cup and these bees. I epoxied over that. And I used my Wand V dryer, so that cup was dry in an hour and a half. I've used a ton of that nice and thick, and this epoxy's still way too thin. So I'm going to add some more. I think this little tub is about $10. I personally don't think it's worth what I paid for it because it takes so much to get it to thicken up my epoxy. I might try the cornstarch idea the next time, well, when I run out of this, but I don't know exactly how you do it. I think it's just straight cornstarch poured into your epoxy, but I'm not 100% positive, so I definitely want to research how to do that before I do it because I don't want to run a cup because I don't know about you, but I hate strip cups. I think I'm gonna get another measuring cup and put a little bit of epoxy in it, thicken it up instead of this whole batch because I don't even need all of what I mixed up. Maybe this will work better this way. Now I'm probably getting it too thick. Now it's getting a lot thicker. This will work much better. I think I'll add a little more and then I'll show you how to do the drips. If I get it too thick, I'll just pour some of that other epoxy back in. Oh yeah, this is much better. Now I can show you how to do a drip. This is pretty thick. It's still thin, but it's, I think, thick enough now that I can put it on the cup okay. I apply it with the popsicle stick. I think some people use a silicone brush, but you just put it on your popsicle stick and dab it on your cup. You just kind of, I don't know, make it look like an icicle or um, frosting. Just kind of let it put some going down the cup and then some across where it all connects. And as it um, gets on there, it'll smooth out where the little indentions are from your popsicle stick. You just kind of softly pat it on there and kind of move it around the way that you want. And try to make your drips different lengths so they're not so uniform going around your cup. These look really cool on cups for Halloween. I did some uh, cups at Halloween that were like scary movie characters. So I did the drips